Kingston, and I'm very proud and actually very happy to be here tonight. Because I wouldn't have missed this I wouldn't have missed this. This is part of not only the pleasure of being the district governor, but there's a friend involved here. For those of you who may not know, I'm on a pass out from the hospital today. I'm in the Heart Institute for Jim, I can remember a conversation you and I had. It was about 30 years ago when you and I met on Bank Street. You told me about your situation and how the Heart Institute had treated you. And I got a pass to be here. If I skip out a little bit early when everyone's dancing or whatever, visiting with Jim, it's because I have to be back in tonight. But I don't know, they have not enough lash marks or something yet. They're not finished with me yet. But Jim, I wouldn't have missed this for anything. I want you to know how they wouldn't let me go duck hunting this morning, but I said I had to be here tonight. And even Terry agreed. I had to be here tonight. My privilege at this time is to introduce your Master of Ceremonies for the evening. And so now we get down to the funny part, right? I've had a week of climbing the walls in a room in the hospital to practice humor, so are you ready?
Hit us.
All right, and so it's my privilege to introduce you to Ari. Recently, Terry and I had the opportunity of going to a comedy night. The name of the comedy night was Don't Quit Your Day Job. And for a couple of years now, Ari has been inviting me. You should come and see me do comedy. Well, I went. So I went. And I have no comment about the comedy. But a couple of things you may not know about Ari. Ari's an American. And Ari, being American, they think they're the God's greatest gift to the rest of the world. They think that also that they're the savior of everything. If you ever get a chance to see Ari in a comedy sketch, everything you've heard about Americans is not true. The strange thing, it's very strange. I actually went to a comedy night, and you know what you're supposed to do there? You're supposed to laugh. Jim, you've been trying to do this to me for years, and Ari picked it up the night that Terry and I went, and it must have been the flu, or it must have been the food or something. We left. And Jim told us, I want you, everyone in Toastmasters has heard the stupid moose joke. Well, we heard it again that night, and it hasn't gotten any better. But Ari was there in his orange suit that obviously must have come from Sears or something. But anyway, I'm really not good at humor, so why don't we let someone who's really a tremendous sport and a very, very fine gentleman, and a close friend of Jim, why don't we let him take over? So welcome everyone, but tonight let Ari and the other stars take the show.
Thank you, Harry. Oh, wonderful. This thing is on. Sometimes I never know. Gosh. Well, welcome, everyone. It's glad to see you back, Adam, Harry. Glad to see you. Are you sitting over here? Are you joining us here or over there? Here? Okay, I just want to know who to speak to. So you were in the hospital for what, a week? A week. The doctors and the nurses over there had to put up with you for a week. Wow. Okay. Very good. I'm not doing this. You're lucky. You're in for a treat, by the way. I'm not doing this on my own. We have two to the price of one. 2 MCs for you this evening, and I want to bring up our co-MC for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your co-MC, my partner in comedy, the co-host of the fabulous Don't Quit Your Day Job comedy night. A shameless plug. Our next one is next Saturday at Greenfields and Barth. Don't Quit Your Day Job comedy night. Someone whom I look up to and someone who has to look up at all of us. Please welcome Felice Miranda. Can't too close.
No,
It's her fiance and my wife are back there. They insist. There's separation between us.
Separation, that's it. So here we are.
Here we are.
Thank you.
Who are these people up here, Felice?
Who are they? Well, I thought,
Who are we?
who are we?
Who are you? Who are you?
Well, what's happening is we've got two worlds here tonight. We've got the Toastmaster world, and we have the comedy world.
That's really cool.
Some of us you may know, some of you may know us from the comedy world, and some of you may know us from the Toastmaster world.
Yeah, and one or two you may know Felice from her adult web series called The Naughty Realtor.
Well, you may know Ari from earlier this evening. He was the one stealing your cocktails, right?
That was me, thanks Felice. Well, as you know by now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a roast, okay? This is a roast. Everyone in the room is fair game. So whether you're a fat, talentless hack,
like Ari,
thank you, Felice, or you're a high-maintenance, self-absorbed, neurotic jerk,
like Ari,
thank you very much. Nobody is immune from the roasting, okay? Let's just make one thing clear, though. We're all friends here, right? We are. We all love each other, and we have the utmost respect for one another.
except for Ari.
Obviously.
It's a free for all.
Now, looking around the room, we see some people you don't know. We do have two worlds uniting here today. Felice, why don't you introduce who some of these Toastmaster people are?
Well, first of all, I just want to tell you about Toastmasters a little bit. Toastmasters is an organization that's been around for almost 100 years. And what people do is they hone their communication and leadership skills. They also do a lot of public speaking. And they also have perfected the old art of talking behind your back. That's what those Toastmasters do. Go ahead, Ari.
That never happens in Toastmasters, never. No.
But we're talking in front of everyone tonight.
There we go. We'll insult you straight to your face, absolutely.
Definitely.
So for our Toastmasters friends, and there's a few people who you may not know, and let's explain this whole thing. Comedy is what happens when someone says something funny in a funny way, or they're just funny looking, okay? And that makes you laugh. We never hear that Toastmasters, so as Harry said.
Except for Ari.
Well, yeah, you laugh at me, not with me.
No, we laugh at him. We do.
We do, okay. So,
I keep my glasses on, or I'll follow my notes here. Alrighty. So you're probably wondering who these people are up here at the head table, right? You're probably wondering. Well, on this side of the table is the comedy side of the table. And I know. This side may be funny to look at. We'll be laughing at you, Harry. So what I have here on this side, okay, here we go. The first so-called comedian is Brian Wherrett. Now, Brian is also the president of a Toastmaster club, so he's kind of crosses over sometimes. But Brian also has an IT job, and is it on? People can hear me? I do have a very loud voice, but sometimes you might. But Brian also, is a comedian, and he makes me laugh. But I know some of you may not be able to see him because of the glare of his head. So you might have to put your sunglasses on. Well, that's Brian over here. Next we have Rachelle Todd, who is another cross-dresser, cross person. She's also in Toastmasters. And she's joining us here tonight on the comedy side. And we have two other comedians, as you can see. Just like comedians, they're always late because they perform usually late in the evening. And they are not here yet. That will be Don Kelly and Wafik Nasrallah, and they will be here after dinner. And then we can introduce them.
Awesome. Thanks, Felice. You're ahead. So over on this side, I want to introduce a few people that we have here. First off, we have the Grand Poobah of Toastmasters District 61. He is the former Minister of Propaganda for North Korea until he defected to Canada and spied for Trudeau against Vermont. He's an avid reader of 17th century Azerbaijani literature, a guy who stays up well into the wee hours most nights playing video games like Grand Theft Auto and Lego Marvel Superheroes. He's the current spokesman for PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animal Hunters. Please welcome Harry Kingston. Now, sitting next to Harry right here is a woman whom I just recently met, and this is going to be a little bit awkward. You see, both of us had profiles on Match.com. We had a couple of dates, but we decided to just be friends, for now. Yeah. Now, she's a proud advocate of gun rights and other right-wing causes. Someone who grew up in Venice, I mean the Venice of the Great Lakes, Hamilton, Ontario, of course. Any Hamiltonians here? A couple of yous. Martin Short, Eugene Levy, Ivan Reitman, right? The whole gang. Fantastic. Give it up for your favorite flying musical nun, Lynne Zander. Now, sitting next to Lynn, next up we have a woman who just escaped from a senior's home down the street. She's a retired union boss from the GM plant in Oshawa. Someone who's gone back to school to pursue a second career as a laser eye surgeon. She's a black belt in karate. And she spends her spare time traveling around the world attending adult fantasy conventions. Dressed up as her alter ego, Nena, Mistress of the Night. Put your hands together for Nena Nera. And last, and most certainly least, a gentleman who's supposed to be on the edge, but he's doing double duty. He's over at the camera right over there. That's Nena's ex-husband, of course. A man whose skill in the Japanese...
We apologize. The video that should appear at this moment got cut off due to the problem pictured below.
And this was back, he was a teenage rebel, we know that. And he was talking to all his friends, and he was saying, you know, I shot my first turkey today. It was so exciting. But it scared the heck out of all the ladies in the frozen food aisle.
What's coming out, we have some of our comics here to entertain you, following which we're opening up. It's going to be open mic. I know with some of us it seems like open mic anyway.
Oh yes.
Jim's family want to say some things, and then it'll be Jim's turn to roast everyone back. Alright? He'll give some of his comic material as well, right? Again, you've enjoyed your meal here at Villa Lucia? Yes. As we say in the business, tip your servers well. It's a cliche, but it's true. They do a good job, so you show them the love, right? Absolutely. Thank you, Alberto, for clapping. Were you once a waiter or something? Very good. Now, we have a luggage in the room. We got about 60 plus. I heard we were going to have over 60 here tonight. Just didn't know how many of you were over 60. Or over 70. Or over 80. No. None of those. Some people could not be here this evening, and we have some regrets. A few. Sorry, that's a bad one. Sinatra fan over here, he gets it right. Howard Wagman, who runs the Young Comic Club here in Ottawa, Howie says that as the MC, I'm supposed to come up with a cruel roast type of joke and then give him all the credit. Typical Howie. That's only fair, though. I owe Howie. I ran over time severely the first time I was at Yuck Yucks. And you know who I learned the whole running over time thing from? Jim Robinson. You never do that, right, Jim? That never happens? No, of course not. Brian Sutton, the first in line to the throne here in the district. He's been exiled to Quebec City by Harry and thus can't be here this evening, but he sends his best. Chris Ford. Chris is out west at his son's wedding. Well, that's an excuse.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
How many sons does he have? He knows it.
But Jim, he says he hopes he'll be well done by the end of the roast. Lynn, he stole your material. Well done. Please. Gina Cook says she's sorry that she can't make it, but had a great time without me. Hey, let's be honest. Any time without Gina is a great time, am I wrong? Boom! Gina's not even here and she's roasted. Speaking of not here, Tony Smith sends his regrets. We miss Tony. We miss his heckling here today, don't we? Yeah. Now, Tony did pass along a message to give the children. Frankly, we had no idea what it meant. We sent it out for translation. Boom, Tony, you're roasted, not even here. Speaking of lost in translation, as a lot of you know, I'm an American, something for which Jim has given me a lot of flack over the years. Mostly well-deserved, though, right, Jim? Mostly well-deserved. In fact, one day we were enjoying a couple of adult beverages, as men like us are known to do. Jim looks at me and he says, Ari, I'm sorry, which I love Canadians, always with the sorry, right? Even if you've got an extra right, always with the sorry. Ari, I'm sorry, but you Americans are a shadow of what you once were. You are nothing like the empire you used to be. You used to create. You used to produce. You don't produce anything anymore. The only thing you produce is ignorance and apathy. I looked at him and said, hey Jim, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, frankly I don't care. Speaking of ignorance and apathy, Jim, your career in the federal civil service has not gone unnoticed. Just so you know, you've inspired an entire generation to go into government and achieve nothing. Crickets, right? Oh, Lynne Zander, right over here. I told you no one in this room is off limits, all right? Lynne Zander, you were my Spanish teacher. A lot of people don't know this. Lynn may not even remember this. Senora Zander was my Spanish teacher, which probably explains why I speak Spanish so poorly. Yo fiesta cerveza. Yeah. Seriously, the one day in class I got so upset with her. She was just pushing all my buttons. She made me so angry, Senora Zander. She was being such an unconscionable ball breaker. Finally I looked at her, I said, go to hell. She said, en español, por favor, vaya al infierno. Nena Nera, Nena! There's more, as I promised. Look at that face. Nena, you know that you're the one woman in the world, not even including my wife, the one woman in the world I cannot say no to. Does anyone ever say no to Nena? No! And you know what happens if you do? If you dare say no to Nena? She sends out the Filipino mafia after you. Yeah. Now they don't kill you, they don't do anything violent, they just kidnap you in the middle of the night and take you out and make you sing karaoke all night long. Craig Sr., appropriately named, the only one up here who's not a senior. That's a bad joke, but hey, consider yourself roasted, okay buddy? Alright. Oh, what do we got here? Let's move on with the comics. The real comics, alright? We've got what? Are you doing jokes? Well, she's a comic. She's one of the real comics. Let's bring it up here. Let's bring back the days. Yeah.
Look, I know that I did do a little bio on Jim, a little song, but now it's time to really roast him. As you know, Jim, he's an author, but what I find really interesting is where, Jim, did you get somebody to translate those stone tablets that your first books are written on? Seriously.
The original tablet.
And also, you know, Jim's a single man, eligible single man. There he is, you know, on the dating sites. I came across him on the dating site. And I'm going to give you some tips for dating. First, you've got to update that photo, okay? Because the cave drawings, they're just too old. Okay? First tip. Talking about old, last month I was in Nova Scotia at the Joggin Fossil Cliffs. I was sitting on the beach, 310 million years old. And as you look through the stones, you can actually find fossils. I was looking through the stones, I couldn't believe it. Saw a fossil, looked like Jim Robinson. Yeah, that's right. And I had one more joke about Jim. And I forgot, you know what I think it is? Act your age, Jim. Old. Anyway, I just want to say I'm going to end on a nice note because I met Jim about 8 years ago at Toastmasters. He was doing a humorous workshop, and he told me he did stand-up comedy, and he started when he retired. And I wanted to do stand-up comedy, and Jim said, you can do it, and Jim inspired me, and my life is richer with knowing Jim. Thank you very much, Jim Robinson.
Thanks, Felice. Isn't she like multi-talented? She sings, she dances, she raps, she acts, she does comedy. She'll sell you a house and then make it dysfunctional while she's at it. That's the whole complete package. My gosh, Jerry, you're a lucky guy. That's her fiance. She's recently engaged. You want to give her a hand for that? Let's bring up a comic onto the stage. Although he's a guy who actually did get his start in Toastmasters, he's in a club called Talkmasters. Isn't that the one, Brian? Talkmasters over at Albertel. He learned so much from another DTM we know, a guy named Bill Bishop. But despite that, he has gone on to some success. Boom, Bill's roasted, he's not even here. Please welcome to the stage a funny guy with whom I have performed, Felice has performed. He's performed with Jim several times, Mr. Brian Wherrett.
Thanks, Ari. Far too kind. I want to point out that the danger with roasts is that, well, everyone comes up and does the same jokes. As I was sitting there, I was throwing cue cards away after cue card, like, thanks, Lynn. I had a killer Tim Conway line and everything. So, no good there. And then I realized, hold on a second, I didn't even need to have to write any material. I could have just done Jim's act. I have no idea what you were talking about, so I couldn't steal anything from you, right? But before I actually start, though, I do want to make it very clear that it is with great warmth and admiration that I will now say some terrible things about Jim. Mostly fiction. I understand that Jim has done some work with the, well, he claims to have done some work with the homeless. Jim, working with comics doesn't count as charity. It's very nice that we are holding this dinner tonight to honor Jim. But isn't it a little bit mean to eat solid food in front of him? Okay, you're on board. Good. I was bored. Okay. Good. Woo. I can't hide the sweat, you know. So I'm also a Toastmaster and a comic. So I understand the two worlds that Jim has tried to bridge. The club scene is way different than a Toastmasters meeting. Clean language versus anything goes. New comics will use shock to get a laugh, that type of thing. So staying to a clean path is a tough road to take. You want to do that in both worlds. I think he's done an excellent job. No joke there.
That's true.
I first heard about Jim through Toastmasters because I was a member of my club at work. And when I actually finally met him, it was at a Yuck Yucks. It was at one of the Wednesday nights there. And, well, we both assumed each other was there to collect our kids. Well, it's tough getting into comedy at, well, any age above 25, really, right? I mean, sadly, religious-based jokes, well, they're kind of out of fashion. So there's no advantage to having first-hand accounts of Moses. In terms of edginess, he's always been a good active member of the stand-up scene, keeping things mostly clean. Not a lot of cussing from Jim, but I fear that the edgy kids that are pushing the envelope are starting to have a little bit of an influence on him. Well, for example, last time on stage, he told the empty front row to fudge off, dagnammit. Maybe glasses in the future, I don't know. But I understand that Jim has done some acting. So not just stand-up, he's really getting up there and doing some acting. Well, actually, any low-budget shot on an iPhone production can book him. That's not a reflection of his talent, but his pride to be Canadian. That's a slight against the Canadian film industry. I'll translate any jokes that you don't understand, it's fine. Well, on the topic of doing old age jokes, which may be a little unavoidable this evening, it's not surprising at all, but it's hard to research a guy when the first half of his life predates recorded history, and especially Google. We're all aware that Jim has had some, he's had a few health issues in the years, but he's had so many near misses that he's getting honorary feline status. Thank you, sir. It's not just in recent times that he's thwarted death. I hear that he once narrowly avoided getting drafted by a Roman legion. I told you to do all jokes. Jim has had, he's had many stays in the hospital over the years, and I sincerely wish him future good health. No, seriously, because I'm getting worried there's going to be no OHIP left. All right. You still okay? You won't make eye contact with me now, I understand. Jim once gave a free seminar. He's good at giving back to the Toastmasters community, my son working in it, but he did a free seminar on how to be funny. It's a shame none of my fellow roasters attended it. But Jim is more than happy to share his comedy knowledge with others. For example, he'll share the secret of the pause when telling a joke. You need to be sure to pause before the punchline. Got it. He's the champion of telling jokes with a pause. A really, really long pause. Why did the chicken, listening to Jim tell a joke across the road? Pause. Because she knew she could make it back in time for the punchline. I hope that wasn't too inside ball in the comedy world for you guys. Sure, and we all slow down a little bit, but Jim, if you're trying to reverse time, ain't working. Okay, I've got to tell you about this. Getting older doesn't mean that you can't be funny. Jim actually, he knocked it out of the park last summer in the first round of a comedy competition that I was in. Yeah, he beat out 8 other comics on the first night. Their combined age was younger than his bypass. And as a graying joke slinger, I know you can't really tell, but it's very inspiring. That was me being sincere. Jim once worked for the RCAF. We can assume it was the dirigible division. I just wanted to say dirigible, I don't know why. But apparently his job was so top secret, they gave him a cover story of peeling potatoes in the mess hall and cleaning the latrines. All right. They can't all be winners, folks, come on. According to his Facebook profile, and yes, I did do some very intense research, as everyone else did, he's a mechanical engineer. Yeah, okay. I'm a software designer, come on. But looking at it, I understand that he had a large family, right? Growing up with, 25 siblings? Something like that? About that? Yeah. I mean, boy, there wasn't much for mom and dad to do in Quillon, was there? Quillon. Sorry. My spell checker corrected it to Quincy, so with this. But I mean, with so many siblings, right, it's easy to understand why Jim got into attention-seeking behavior, like Toastmasters. Stand up and streaking. Yeah, you gotta stop the streaking, buddy. You gotta cut that out. All right, I lost you. Okay. All right. Jim is I won't do that joke. That's bad. Jim's quite a soft-spoken guy. All right. I mean, he's not a big talker, unless you get him started about the moose. No. But he won't badmouth another comic, in the green room or anything like that. Whereas I'm pretty accustomed to the other comics, trashing me. Surprised I'm not saying anything right now, but it's kind of nice to have someone who's not got that long knives out for your back when you're on stage. I'm very appreciative of that. But yes, Jim is we're getting there. Only a couple cards left. Relax, I know. You're going, this guy's so good, I gotta go for it now! No, it's like, yes, Jim is old, right? And I think young folks need to be nicer to old folks. Because, well, aside from sharing the wealth of experience, the old folks are further ahead in the queue. I don't want to be standing in line at the pearly gates and see Jim up there standing next to St. Peter, going, see that bald guy? Ask him about the roast 2014. All right. But Jim, you're an inspiration. I hope that I'm half as funny as you by the time I'm half your age. Thank you very much. Peter Mansbridge, everyone. You're back on the National Monday? Oh, very good. Will we move on with our comedy lineup? Someone who has played our show, Felice, called Don't Quit Your Day Job Comedy Night. Check us out on Facebook. We have a show next Saturday. Did I mention that? Shameless plug. Very good. Felice is hosting that one, aren't you? That's awesome. We have a great lineup for you as well. Please welcome to the stage another Toastmaster turned comic. Or is it comic turned Toastmaster? I don't know. Rachelle Todd.
Thank you. Oh, it is great to be here for the roast of Johnny Carson. I'll tell you. Big fan, big fan. Jim. He knows that kid. Well, as a Toastmaster, I'll open up the way I'm supposed to. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and unwelcome guests, and of course, our most esteemed Jim Robinson. It's wonderful to have the pleasure of roasting someone who is very respected, loved, and funny. And someday I hope to have that pleasure. Jim is a very old friend of mine. I haven't known him that long. He is a friend and he's very old. It's good to see many fellow Toastmasters here. And I think one of the cardinal sins is saying the word which one of the reasons I joined Toastmasters is very guilty of. So I think being amongst this many Toastmasters, if I say I think I can actually go to prison. That's it, yes. Well, Jim would be having a great time if he knew where he was. That's a good one. That's a good one, Jim.
Rachelle Todd, everyone. Good hand for her. She did not have a lot of time to prepare, and they delivered a solid kind of effort. But we would expect nothing less from a Toastmaster / comic. So, the power of Toastmasters. The power of Toastmasters, right, Diane? We've been talking about this. Yes. Marketing spiel we got going on.
We're both old. We have white hair, and we both love comedy. And I thought, you know what? We can form a duo. A comedy duo. But We perform in front of international audiences at Gagne. I'm sure there's a German underground somewhere, and I thought, you know what? We'll change our names to cover the Spanish, the French, the English, and the German. So he could be Jaime Robinson, and I could be Lynne Zander, which is actually a German name. And we could do Carol Burnett and Tim Conway. And I was thinking, because we both speak French and we both sing, it would be really cool if we did maybe an Alouette routine. And he could be the plucker. And I would be the bird. And then we could start and go, he'd go, Alouette, gentille Alouette, Alouette, je te plumerai, je te plumerai la tête, je te plumerai la tête, et les yeux, et le nez, et le nez, et le bec, et le bec, et le cul, forget le cul. Then I thought, maybe, because he likes animals and he lived on a farm, we could do Vlad Bonbon. And he would be a hunter. I don't know if you know the song about the fiche du roi sans la chanson. And I thought it would be Vlad Bonbon, Vlad Bonbon, Vlad Bonbon, mamie m'appelle, Vlad Bonbon, Vlad Bonbon, Vlad Bonbon, mamie m'appelle. Derrière chez nous, il y a un étang. Trois beaux canards, 100 bons baignons. So behind our place there's a pond with 3 ducks. And I thought, this would be so cool because we could act this out. And then we got to the part where it goes, le fils du roi s'en va chassant avec son grand fusil d'argent. He could come out on the stage and be the hunter, Kingston, with his gun. And then it goes, visa le noir, tu as le blanc. He puts his sights on the black duck, but by mistake, he kills the white duck. And I thought, well, that could be me, because I have white hair. And since he doesn't really need the duck, and it's duck hunting day, and I think, oh, Harry's still here, good. That he could just give the duck to Harry. To make him think of duck hunting day. Now this was working well. I got thinking back to the music with Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez. And I thought, I know what he listens to them. He goes on stage at Absolute Comedy, and he's on YouTube, and he does all these yuck shows. And how can you talk to an audience of 20-year-olds if you don't know how they talk? And listening to Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez would give him ideas. And then I thought, I'll watch a YouTube, and there's a YouTube of him doing a performance at Absolute Comedy with the X-rated Y generation. And they're in the audience looking totally bored. And he has on a baseball cap, and he's playing the old card like I'm an old man. And then he gets into how he doesn't know anything about modern stuff, and he gets into computers. And this is where it got really interesting, because he talked to this young group about how he was on the computer, and somehow, I don't know how, he got on to a porn site. And accidentally downloaded a virus right into his hard drive. I was astonished, but I have to say I was impressed. The crowd just howled, and these were 20-year-olds, and Jim, kudos to you, that was a very good line. And that is also a true story. Now, to be a comedian, you have to be a master of timing. Wednesday morning at Percolators, and Mary's a witness to this. The meeting was going on. We started a bit late, and Jim was scheduled to do the joke or the story. But Jim wasn't there. And we waited and waited and waited. Finally, the time for the joke or story came up, and Ari so graciously volunteered to do it. And he was standing at the table, telling this grand story, and before he even got to the punchline, we all, yay, started clapping and screaming. He the door, well, sauntered, kind of like this, and he couldn't figure out why we were all clapping. Then he got up and he did his famous story about the beer. You remember that one? The beer. The Irish, the beer, and yeah, one of his famous stories. And he got up and did that, and we all howled again. If you ever want to learn anything about being a master of timing, watch Jim. He completely and utterly stole Ari's thunder, made us all laugh, and he did what Darren LaCroix always says you should do. Get stage time. Even if he has to steal it, get stage time. I have to say, Jim, I am so impressed with you after watching your comedy. And on the page, on his website, too, there's this beautiful photo. You have to check it out. And it's a picture taken, I think it was in 2010, at Absolute Comedy, of all the comedians, and right in the front row, second from the right, there's Jim, all elegant in a beautiful suit and tie. And I agree with Harry, Jim is one classy guy. Yes, I do. And now I'm taking the challenge. I have made a roast because it was such a rare opportunity and it was fun performing in a different medium. And now after 7 minutes, you can all say, well done.
Toastmasters, and as you can see, the older people at the table. We're going to move it over to the only person here who's actually older than Jim. Hey, Nena Nera, come on up. Oh, you have a mic. Oh, fantastic.
Jim, where are you? I'm looking for Jim. Have you seen him?
Where is he? Where's Jim? Jim, where are you?
He's scared of you. He's cold.
Jim, can you hear me now? Are you here? Oh, there you are. There you are, Jim. I've been looking for you. Jim, can you give me a ride home? My driver's examiners didn't give me my senior's license. He told me to practice some more. And he told me to concentrate, to stop talking while driving, and to stop asking questions. Can you drive me home, Jim? Okay. How wonderful. You are my last hope. Harry is going to a next meeting. Frank Schilder is going to his baseball game. Alberto has to take Adriana home. Clarita has to go to her youth leadership group. So nobody is going to ride me home. So I'm ready. Let's go. Jim, where are we? This is not where I live. I live at 1 Eleanor Drive. This is Diane's home. Jim, look at me, I'm Nena. I'm Nena, I'm not Diane. Oh, Jim. Now we have to go back all the way to 1 Eleanor Drive. Do you know how to get there? I first laid eyes on Jim
in 1905. Was it 1905, Jim? At the Division C International Speech Contest, we were competitors. I got first place, and Jim was the runner-up. After the contest, Jim approached me, and I thought he was going to congratulate me, and I had my hand up ready. No hand from Jim. He approached me slowly, very serious, with his eyes looking at me, and he said, "You are now my #1 enemy." Remember that, Jim? I stepped back, and I thought he would kill me. Then slowly, his face started smiling. And he approached me, and he said, "You did good, girl." From that time on, I was his loving enemy. I respect this man highly. He is kind, considerate, and simple. He is a simple man. He is unencumbered by evil thoughts. I love you, Jim. Come here and give me a big hug. Oh, here, give me a big hug here. He says he loves me too. I'm no longer his enemy. Now, I will come around here. Yeah? You said we could roast each other, right? Okay. How do you put it? I want to know I don't know how to read it. It says
3 digits.
It says 49. Okay, Harry has left. And I was going to measure his tummy as well. Now, who has a bigger tummy than Ari?
Nobody.
Okay, then you have to measure me.
Let's see, we'll get 49 right on here.
What does that mean, Ari?
We go with that.
That's right. We are the happy pair. I know. Nena Nera, fantastic job. All right. The final member of the Toastmaster team. This guy's name is Crazy.
senior, but actually he's the only unsenior at the table. But if he keeps hanging out with them, soon will become like them. Please welcome Craig Senior.
I was thinking the other day how much Jim Robinson and I have in common. He grew up in a small town up the Ottawa River a long, long time ago. I grew up in a small town in Newfoundland a long time ago. He got two longs, I just got one. There I went to a little two-room school. Thank you for your feedback. I learned all the mysteries of life. Like how to spell the word moose. I used to think the plural of the word tooth was teeth. The plural of the word goose was geese. So the plural of the word moose had to be meese. When I was 10 years old, I wrote into an essay. Down by the bush, I saw two geese. And the teacher, she wrote an X across it. And she said, correct it. So then I wrote, down by the bush, I saw two mooses. I got the paper back, big X. The teacher said that was the second time. Now the third time, try to get it right. So then I wrote, down by the bush, I saw one moose. And then I wrote, by the way, next to it was another moose. It's a true story. I want to tell you about an encounter of a 10-year-old boy and an encounter with an icon of Canada, a moose. Our little house was on top of a hill. And one morning I looked down and I said, two mooses. And the next thing I know, right in front of me was a moose. A 2,000-pound bull moose looking at me. It was moose mating season. And in moose mating season, the bull moose is very temperamental, very touchy. One little thing and it'll set it off. And it was looking at me and it was snorting. And it was pawing at the ground with its hoof. And I always learned that when a bull moose looks looks at you like that. You stand perfectly still. I ran. I ran into the back shed, and the moose ran in through the big door. And then I ran into the kitchen. I closed the door and I locked the kitchen door just in case the moose had a key. I was all alone in there except for my grandfather. And my grandfather ran across the road to the neighbor's house where my mother was. And he said, he was a Scotsman, he said, "There's a moose in the house. Come quick." And she said, "No, there's no mouse in the house." He said, "Not a wee mouse, a big moose." And she said, "There's not a big mouse in the house. Are you drunk? Again?" Well, I'm back in the house, alone in the kitchen. I look up and there's a great big moose looking in through the window. I stared him down and I said, "Go, moose!" And he just looked at me. And then I realized that I was in a French-speaking part of Newfoundland. So I looked up at him and I said, "Va, moose!" And he went. So that's the origin of the word vamoose. The word got around that I faced the moose and I won the battle. I had to write an essay at school, and an essay with the word moose in it. I wrote, "I saw two mooses down by the bush. One came at me. So I ran off in the bush, and there I was in the kitchen. The moose is looking in the window at me. It would scare the leaves right out of the tree. The moose is looking in the window. They think they're in a zoo. That's because they're looking at you." The moral of the story is, if you see a moose by your house, and it's a real big moose, and you're not doing substance abuse, just stick your head out the window and say, "Va moose!" Ladies and gentlemen, this was a piece about mooses that I wish I could say I wrote, but I did not. The person who wrote that is a master writer, master at comic timing, someone who I look up to for my comic timing. Someday it's going to take. So Jim, thank you for being a mentor, a role model for me. And then it's nice to see that you're, thinner, and I'm looking more like a moose every single day. I'm going to buy a moose now.
Okay, everybody, for the old people in the room, it's break time. 10 minutes? 10 minutes.
Let's move into our, I guess we'll call him our feature comic, because that's what he makes us call him, otherwise we have to pay him, I guess. A very funny guy. He's performed all over town, all over Canada, I think. And he's been on, you may have seen him on the TV there, on CTV, Comedy Now, which was just on a repeat the other night here in Ottawa a couple weeks ago. I was up late at night and it's either that or infomercials, so I was watching Don instead. Why not? Funny guy, goes way back with Jim and comedy. Please welcome Don Kelly.
Thanks, Ari. You're big, you're obnoxious, you're American. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Of course, I didn't know you're American. You know, they look just like us. It's hard to tell sometimes. And an American is just an armed Canadian with no manners or health care. So. It's great to be here. I know you all came out. It's a great night for a good cause. I'd like to think I'm a good-hearted person. I, too, actually work in a non-profit industry, Canadian showbiz, so it's nice. I can pay for my meal. Thanks, Toastmasters. Appreciate that for the privilege. It's an honor. It's an honor, really. I'm actually I'm learning a lot about Jim tonight. I didn't know. I know him mainly from his comedy side. I did not know he was an engineer. Now, normally, that's an impressive degree, but of course, when Jim was in school, all they had was the lever. So, next week, we hope to teach you about the fulcrum. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I won't be long. I'll be brief, as we all know, Jim doesn't have much time. It's late, so I'm sorry that it's late. And by the way, that's what I wonder. Why do you drive so slow, Jim? We were having beers one night at the Prescott, me, Jim, and my buddy Wafik. Wafik got a ride home with Jim. This is a true story. The cops pulled him over for driving too slow. Right? Like, Jim, if I was your age, I'd be speeding everywhere. I'd be running red lights. I'd be leaning on the horn. Out of my way, I'm on the clock. Anyway, it's great to be here. It's great to see Jim here. Someone tell him he's here. Have a good time. It is great to meet all you Toastmasters people. I haven't met a lot of you, but Jim did tell me that Toastmasters was the reason he got into comedy. So on behalf of the Ottawa comedy community, I just want to say, screw you, Toastmasters. You're doing a good thing. No, I love Toastmasters. It combines all the sweat and fear of comedy minus the laughs. So it's like amateur night. So, and speaking of amateur night, Brian, Rachel, nice to see you. I didn't know Jim really wanted to do comedy. He just showed up wandering around the club one night asking for banana bread and Metamucil. And he just wandered on stage, and from there took off. But given this is a roast for Jim, I guess it's been pretty clear by now the easiest thing in the world to do would be to make a bunch of cheap jokes about how old he is. So that's what I'm going to do. Why break the pattern? I'm not saying Jim's old, but his grandfather was a fig. That's an evolution joke for those of you who didn't get it. I'm not a big evolution crowd. I know Jim agrees with evolutionists. He says, hey, seeing is believing. So. Now, I'm one to talk. I know what it's like to be old. I'm not a young guy. I did an online fitness assessment test the other day. It calculated my age as deceased. All I know is the exercises are pretty easy. Hey, you raised your leg. That's very good for a man in your condition. But like I say, I'm no spring chicken. And yes, I use that term because I'm scanning the room and I'm using the hip lingo I know you guys will connect with. So yes, I'm no spring chicken, right? But Jim is really old. I'll tell you, I'll put it this way. I remember when there were no ATMs. Jim remembers when there was no banks. Jim remembers when there was no money, right? In fact, when Jim was younger, spring chickens were money, right? It was like, I'll give you 5 chickens for a quart of wood, we used to say. I'm not saying Jim's old, but when we went for a walk, an airplane flew overhead and Jim went, ah, Iron Bird! I don't want to say Jim is old school, right? Jim is from the school they tore down to build the old school, then excavated the foundation and founded older school. And that's the school Jim built. People have talked about Jim's great comedic timing. I don't know if it's great comedic timing or if his spells kick in at just the right time sometimes, you know? It's a vacant stare and perfect, yeah. Bang, punchline. I'm not saying Jim's old, but he calls the movies talking pictures. But I will say on in movies, Jim is a patron of the arts. If you know Jim, he loves the arts. In fact, just last year I went to see the NAC. I went to see Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, and Jim said, you know what, I haven't seen Julius Caesar since high school. Don't get ahead of me. And I said, oh, and how was it? He said, oh, he was a pretty good roommate. Yes, but all kidding aside, I'm talking about how old Jim is. I love Jim. He has still got it. Now, this is a true story. I don't want to embarrass Jim. This is a true story. But every year, my wife and I, we host a house party. We invite people like comedy people, friends from different parts. So Jim was over one year, and a friend of mine, this blonde girl, she's not even 30 yet, was in love with Jim. I am not kidding. No, it's like she was hitting on Jim. Now, of course, these May December romances, or these May Jurassic romances, have their challenges, right? I remember I was eavesdropping, I was listening to them talk, and she said, hey, Jim, what kind of music do you like? I like hip-hop and alternative. What do you like? And Jim says, well, I like early rock music. And she says, oh, like classic rock, like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. And Jim goes, no, original rock music. And she goes, oh, you're talking like Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley. And Jim goes, no, original rock music, the sound of two rocks banging together. It's very tribal, right? And again, I don't want to embarrass Jim, but at one point, it was getting hot and heavy. At one point, she leans over, she goes, hey, Jim, how would you like some super sex? And Jim says, I'll have the soup. From Ben, but it is great to be here in all honesty. Jim and I go way back. I'm native Canadian, and Jim is the guy who actually screwed my forefathers out there. Way back. I know we're very close because people are like about Jim and technology. Jim is on Facebook, and one time my name was his status update. I'm not kidding you. I think he was searching for me. His status update was Don Kelly. I like it. I do love Jim. He's a proud Canadian, and why not? He performed at Confederation. But all kidding aside, Jim is a great guy. I always enjoy watching him perform. He will never get accused of stealing jokes because we just assume he wrote all of them. So that's comedy. But I also do believe I've known Jim for a good long time now, many years. We've worked together many times. I always love working with Jim, and I do. When Jim is on stage, there's a lot of us, we stand at the back of the room, and that's, I think, admiration in comedy. He doesn't really get much out of that. When Jim is on, you stand at the back of the room, you watch Jim, he cracks me up all the time. He has been a fantastic friend to the comedy community, and we like to think that we're good friends of his as well. So Jim, love you, really happy to be here.
Every time I hear you, I just feel a little bit less guilty about my ancestors stealing your ancestors' land. Although, to be fair, a lot of my ancestors were Jewish, so technically they didn't steal your lands. They just accounted for it, treated it for smallpox, and drove the legal documents.
I'm not rushing the stage, I forgot my beer.
God forbid. That concludes the scheduled portion. At this point, we're opening up to open mic, as I warned you about before. We already have someone who's going to do a bit here. So Daria Ghaby, come on down, and she's got something exciting for us.
I'm here to honor Jim's big, warm heart and generous spirit, and the fact that he's always true to his word. As the night was going on, I also realized that I'm here to tell you yet another Facebook story about Jim. Mine is true. Seriously, you can check it out. Just go on Facebook, look up Jim's profile, and you will see that at 3 a.m., about 2 weeks ago, he made this posting. I was up with my toddlers and I looked at it, and Jim said, if I paraphrase, if anyone out there would like to challenge me to do an ice bucket challenge, I'll take them on. For those of you who don't follow Justin Bieber's Facebook, I'll just briefly explain about the ALS ice bucket challenge. So the idea is normally that you would take simultaneously ice cold water and ice cubes, and like so I'll demonstrate here, just dump them over your head, like so, followed by naming 3 persons. They will take on the real challenge, the big challenge, in a big bucket. I'll ask you to pick up my bucket. It's a bit heavy. Be careful of your head. I'll move things here. And then the idea is the other 3 would do the same thing, and so on, and each person would donate to ALS. So I want to just call out my 3 names here, and this is supposed to be taped, as it is being now, and posted on Facebook. My 3 challengers are Brigitte Chen, one of our fellow Toastmasters. She isn't here, she's actually in Holland. She'll do it from there this week. Dave Picard, who will have to find a really big bucket. And Jim, you know that posting? Be careful what you wish for, Jim. I will make it very convenient here for you. Thanks, Ari. I think it deserves a drum roll. So, on 3. Wait. I think Jim's generous heart, the warm heart, I'm so hot. His warm heart has dried up the ice. Nonetheless, I know that Jim is a man of his word, and ALS Canada Online will be getting that donation tonight. The philanthropist in the room, Jim Robinson.
Thanks, Daria. You had some of us scared there for a moment. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's middle of Lucia. They usually have an ambulance on call anyway, but still. George doesn't come after me after that one, isn't it? This one, what? It's in the way? Oh, you're missing my good side. You're missing this. Oh my gosh. We have, and Felice is going to do our concluding portion here. We have a couple of members of Jim's family who are going to make some remarks, but before that, are there any other Toastmasters or guests or comedians or children or anybody in the room who want to come up and say a word or give a roast or give a toast? Leona, you're laughing, you're smiling. You want to do this, don't you? I'm not calling you out, you're calling yourself out at this point. Yeah, Leona.
Thank you, Ari. Ari actually contacted me to ask me if I'd roast Jim. But Jim, I adore you. The very idea of poking fun at you. I just can't. But let me tell you a few things. Jim, everyone talks about Jim. That he never has a naughty story, or never, he's always a gentleman. But Jim likes women. And he never liked me. Even when I was single. Poor Jim. Poor me. But I will tell you something, just lately, I was at the Rideau Carlton Center. And you won't believe this, I was there to watch one of my colleagues. She's a lead singer of a band called the Alice in Wonderland Band. You've got to see her in action. And lo and behold, my sweetheart James, and we're sitting there, and then I turn, and guess who I saw playing the tables? 11 o'clock at night. There was James. And I came up to it as if I wasn't there. I would think even after I lost some weight, made my hair blonde and curly, he'd start to notice me. But no, there he was. $5,000! Jim, you are a gentleman. But you do have some dirty secrets. You're not as innocent. Look at this face. Does he look innocent to you? Come on! We love you. I've known you for years. And the reason why I didn't want to roast you is because people who know me know that I love to say positive things about people. And honestly, I can only say positive things about you. I can tease you because I know you like a pretty girl. I'm not saying they're pretty, but I mean, he likes girls. And if he didn't, then I wonder. But anyways, you are a sweetheart of a soul. And he's always there, and he is a person to emulate. This is the king of comedy and Toastmasters. This guy knows how to deliver the effective pause. This guy knows how to speak with heart. This guy knows how to speak with class. This guy knows how to appreciate his fellow friend, colleague, Toastmaster. And I'm proud and honored to be here in front of you to let you know how much I love you, and on behalf of each and every one here, and I'm sure we'll all resonate and say the same thing. Thank you, Jim, for all that you've given us. Thank you.
The one and only Leona Hamel. Yeah. Are we good? Yeah? Sure, you're on. No, absolutely. It's all yours.
Hi there. I am Jim's sister. Jim is number 1 in our family, and I'm number 14 in our family. And I know nothing about the comedian community. I know very little about the Toastmaster community. But I know that I think we share our love for this man. And anyway, I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who's contributed tonight and made an effort to make tonight happen. And it's very special to my family, and thank you very much. I will tell you that the person that I am and the values that I hold are very much tied to his influence on me. Sorry.
That's the pause, right?
I sent to our MC for the night, but one of my most memorable childhood memories is, well, many of my childhood memories were the result of his efforts for me and on behalf of me and anybody else in my family. But I remember that for Expo 67, he took myself at age 12 and my sister at age 10 to Montreal to see Expo 67. We slept in the car and we ate food prepared by my mom for the whole, for 2 nights together. And as I said in an email to the host, it was more memorable than 2 nights at the Queen Elizabeth. I just want to say thank you so much for all the people who've done this today. Right now, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Ann Robinson, number 14 child. 14 child. Thank you. Next is Ed. I don't know what number you are, but Ed, come on up. He's one of the other Robinsons. Ed, come on up. Want to stand for? Yes, it is.
I'm not used to speaking in a mic, so, but that ice bucket challenge really caught me. I thought it was half full, and I thought you were going to pour it right over his head. And oh my, you caught me. You really did. But I'm not used to standing up here with a mic, and I'm a little nervous, but I got a few things to say. And I know one thing is that seems the more brilliant you are, the more forgetful you can be. And I think it's no exception with Jim. Because how many of us have gone out to the parking lot and actually forget where you park your car? I remember about 15 years ago when Jim was in he had a big house downtown. And he must have went to a Toastmaster meeting one night. He drove his car there and he walked home. It was a beautiful night. When he got up in the morning, he looked out and he couldn't see his car. He didn't have a clue where it went. So he phoned the police. And the police found his car for him. So that was, and then for the rest of this, I had a feeling that there might have been an open mic tonight, so I came prepared with a little bit of something here. As I say, I'm not used to this, but I know bear with me here. I'll get it open.
Okay, Eddie, no problem. Don't take all night.
I'll assure you I'm not going to cry. One of the things which Jim and I, if you look at both of us, we look very much alike. And I could have, many times I go to Queel, Quebec, and I haven't been there for years, and people come up to me and they say, well, oh, how are you, Jim? And I'd say, I'd always be truthful. I'd say, I'm not Jim. And I thought after I could have got Jim in trouble many, many times. Because I could have said, okay, I'm Jim, and remember when I stole your car or something. You know, I'm getting really in trouble, but I never did. So, but I always was truthful, and I always told people I'm the better looking one. And it reminds me of something else. I don't want to stay here too long, but it reminds me of something else. And my wife and I had a good laugh about it after. I went to, I take Accutane about 3 times a week. And I was there one time, and men, you know, like go away in the buff, and we're sitting around. And one guy was singing this song. I don't know it very well, so I wrote it down. And it goes, I stepped out of the shower, I got a good look at myself, put pot-bellied, bald-headed, I thought I was someone else. And I really thought, well, that song fits me perfectly. And the reality is, I don't look like Jim anymore. I am pot-bellied and bald-headed. And I thought, well, I could never, they probably never asked me anytime soon whether I was Jim ever again. So that was another thing. I'm not going to stay here. Oh, there's only one other thing I wanted to say. And we come from a very Catholic family. I'm not Catholic anymore, but that's another thing. But when we were up there, I remember that once, like, it's a poor parish, but it's a great big church. And we were there, and Jim was there one Sunday. We went to church one Sunday, and the pastor got up and he was asking for volunteers. And what he was really asking for was rather unusual, because the old church had a very metal roof. And on the metal roof, he says, you know, I've got this gal in. It was streaky like crazy. And he was fearful, because people are going to go by the old barn, and they're going to know that he has done something terribly wrong. And he was fearful. Well, the next Sunday, we were going to church. We went up to the church, and he looked up at the church roof. And it too looked like a zebra. He knew he was in trouble. And he was just fearful, and he'd get out of the parking lot, and he'd get down on his knees, and he started to pray. I never seen him pray as hard in my life. And he said, oh God, help me. And then there was a great big hand come out of the clouds and pointed right at his head. And it says, repent and sin no more. And we spent the whole next week taking him up to church. So we are two brothers that look very much alike. And he's been as generous to our whole family as anybody could be. And we are very much witness to that. And I do leave you with that. And I'll hand this over to, I got more, but I can't.
And before you speak, Jim, we have one, Mary Robinson.
Sisters. And I just want to say how much we love this man. This man has been an incredible inspiration for our family. I haven't prepared a speech, I didn't know it was sit down, but just like him, eh? He has been, like I said, an inspiration to all of us. And he's been very helpful for each and every one of us, not only his siblings, but his nieces and nephews as well, who are here tonight as well. And we just can't say how much we love this man. He's just great. He's just fabulous. He is really into education. He's really into helping us, encouraging us. Ever since I was young, and ever since the rest of my family were young, he has pushed education. He has encouraged us. He has helped everybody financially. Yeah, Jim is just the best.
Going once, going twice. Now it's time for the man of the night. The man we've all been roasting all night and hearing all about his life and getting to know him in ways that a lot of us didn't know. And here we are. Jim, are you ready to say some words? Good morning anyway. Jim Robinson. Here you are.
First of all, thank you everyone for coming tonight. Some of those things you heard are true. Possibly. It's been a very lovely evening. I've been very flattered. I've had a very rough time recently with health when we get into that in a moment, but I'm not going to stay too long here. It's been a long night for everybody. But I want to say a special thanks to my dear, very good friend Ari Schwartz. One truly great American Canadian. And to all of you, I wondered where my good friend got those words from my speech, and then I was told after that it was on YouTube. So you want to see it on YouTube, it's there. And he did a better job tonight than I did in the speech. I remember, I'll just say a few things that might be funny. I've been in Toastmasters a long time. I'm addicted to several things in life. Toastmasters is one of them, and comedy is another one. I remember my very first speech, I was really nervous, scared. And that's why we joined Toastmasters, to take the fear out when we stand up in public. And I remember, the only thing I remember about that speech, I remember a word in it. That's how old I am. You could have mentioned that when you're talking about how old I am. I said, I'm as nervous, my automatic accent, nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Somebody mentioned that Jim has done a fair amount of charity work with the homeless over his life. That's true. I worked with the Cement and the Ball Society for many years. And not anymore. I've been two. But I remember, it reminded me of a true story. I was on the street one night, and one of the poor homeless guys says, "Give me $5." I said, "I don't have $5." And he said, "Well, why don't you get a job then?" I've been doing comedy as a hobby. I used to walk from my civil service job, my Centertown house, and the Yucca was halfway between. And I used to sneak back to the back in the dark and just to relax and have a beer and listen. And one day the owner, or the manager, persuaded me to try it himself. It took me about a year to do that. I did it. And I won't get into detail of the first experience. All I'll say is, in this table right here, were a whole bunch of drunken cougars. And they had just come from 2 male strip clubs. They used to have male strip clubs in those days. So that was quite an experience. One of them even tried to pick me up, and I almost got away with it. But Howie, the owner, gave her the chase. That's a true story. My very first joke that night, and I remember it because it was my first joke, was this one. And I wrote it and I created it myself. So I'm proud of that. I said, I'm from the valley, up in the valley. I used to talk like that. And I'm half Irish and Scottish. So half of me likes to drink beer. But the other half doesn't like to pay. So it worked, just like it did there now. And I kept telling it in comedy dozen. And then one night in Montreal, I went down to Montreal and did a comedy gig there for fun. And I got as far as saying, I'm half Irish, half Scottish. So half of me likes to drink beer. And from the middle of the audience, some guy said, and the other half just liked the paper. And I just saw that on the internet today. And it was true. And that's what happens. Don, you will vouch for that. You tell a really good joke, it'll end up, somebody will put it on the internet, and then it's not yours, it goes around and around the world.
I wouldn't know it, Jim. I wouldn't know it.
You know darn well. Don is one of the top comedians in Canada. If you watch the Winnipeg Comedy Festival and those festivals, you'll see Don on there often. He's a man I'm very proud to have as a friend, and a very great comedian, and a very great leader of our native people who I have a big heart for myself too. This is a wild week for me because everything unusual is happening, including this. This never happened to me before. If I had my way, I'd have this every night. It never happened before. Last night, I was invited by Waffy, one of our comedian friends, to join him in doing a show at a supper club at the East End of Ottawa. And a very nice, just very respectful group of people, very full. And I did my little gig with them. I've had heckles. It just so happened that last night I experienced the worst, in evidence, the worst heckle ever in my life. It was the worst ever. She was sitting right there, and she got some kind of a drug, maybe alcohol, something into her. She was out of the world completely. And most good hecklers wait for the punchline. She had a word behind every single word I spoke. So you can imagine how that I'm that day. Anyway, I learned, but you learn from bad experiences. That was a bad experience, but you learn from it. So what I learned is Toastmasters, you might take note of this, and comedians do it. When somebody does that to you, there is one answer, and that's to hand her the you come up here and you finish the job for me, okay? And apparently that I'll be, I don't know, I've never tried it. Anyway, that was unusual, just part of an unusual week I had. And I guess my favorite joke is this one. Everybody has a favorite joke. A guy goes to his doctor. He's got a family member who's a doctor. I have to be careful here. The guy goes to his doctor, and the doctor says, I got good news, and I got bad news. She's a nurse, she knows it. And the good news is, you've got one day to live. And the guy said, oh, shit. If that's the good news, what's the bad news? He said, the bad news is, I was supposed to tell you yesterday. and I forgot. Anyway, here's part of it. The owner of Young Ducks told me one time, you can tell jokes about anything. And he said he had a friend who was dying of cancer and went around Toronto raising money for cancer, but the most hilarious speeches you could ever hear. They said, don't be afraid to tell jokes about anything. If you tell them in the right way, in a tasteful way. So, in 1979, when I was 41 years old, I went to my heart doctor. I had heart attack, and I went to the Civic Hospital. And the doctor said I had, this is a true story, I had good news and I got bad news. He said, the good news is you got 10 years to live. Probably. And the bad news is you have to have a major heart operation with the bypasses. I had 5 bypasses all. And you have to have a major bypass. And without that operation, you'll only have 10 years later. With that operation, the good news is you will live 10 years. Let's split that joke up. So on February the 2nd of this year, I was traveling back to Florida, and I took a week turn. We didn't do 7-Eleven. My sister was driving the car. We did 7-Eleven. I sat in the stool and I couldn't get up. Too weak. So they called the fire department. There was a fireman standing on this side of me, and another one, or sitting rather, and another one sitting on this side of me, and they covered me with questions. So what happened? And one fireman pointed to the other one and says, "It's hard. Call an ambulance right away." So they called an ambulance, and I was lying on the stretcher in the ambulance, and there was an attendant on this side of me. I was lying down and looking down like that. Another attendant on this side of me, and they were both using this electronic machine to test my heart, see what was wrong. And I looked down, and on this attendant's hip was the biggest handgun I've ever seen. Sorry, Ari. It's a true story. Biggest handgun I've ever seen in my life. So I decided right there and then that I was going to behave myself. And so I told him a gun joke. I said, we in Canada have, as our national animal, not the moose, the beaver. The beaver is mild-mannered, good-mannered. Yeah, beaver. And I said, but you guys have just as many beavers as we have. I read that in one of the magazines. Along the snow belt, along the border, there are just as many American beavers as there are Canadian beavers. But I said the difference between your beavers and our beavers is that your beavers all have guns. And he laughed. I'm not kidding, it's a true story. He laughed. He scared me. I thought he was going to laugh so much he's going to forget about my job. But in any event, that fireman who said it's cancer was wrong. It was cancer. Did I say cancer? What did I say? It said heart. It was wrong. It's cancer.
Cue cards. Cue cards. Cue cards.
Yeah, cute cards. I thought they said you got a cute heart. Alright. So I found out I had cancer. And for a couple of months I had radiation treatments. And some surgery damage as well. So they cleaned it all out. So they told me I'm clear of cancer. I got in this radiation machine the first day I was there. It it's kind of scared me a bit because it was loud. And I was out, and they left the room. They didn't want to be affected by the radiation. I was all alone. And I was going around and around with the radiation pounding down into the stomach where the cancer was to kill it. And then I was thinking, geez, if that thing isn't straight, it hits my heart, that'd be bad news. And then all of a sudden the machine goes, I said something I can't say here. And I looked up and I said, God, if I see you in the next 2 minutes, I want to know what the hell happened on this goddamn machine. So then they came in and said, sorry, there's an issue with the machine, we're going to get a technician to fix it. That reassured me. Anyway, the cancer's gone. And, that heart doctor who said I had 10 years to live, he's dead. He actually died. I went back. I got to thinking, you know, he did a lot for me, saved my life. And I went back to the Civic to visit him one day. I took some time off work. Went in and they said, he's too bad, he's gone. He's passed on. And he died of stomach cancer. My stomach cancer, the same one I had. And I got away with it. So proud. So I have some points. Early detection is important. Get yourself every chance. Get yourself checked out by the doctor. We have the most vulnerable things are those male and female parts of our bodies. Oh, I'll tell you something funny. They have all signs all over the General Hospital. There's signs, and there was one big one there. And I thought it was kind of cute, but I was surprised. The heading of this, the big poster was, February is Cancer of the Anus Month. So you can get cancer on any part of your body, and it has to be checked. Otherwise it will kill you. And the other thing is, if you go to the States, make sure you got health insurance. It cost me the standard cost, $12,000. I had to put the bill, and it got paid just like that because I had insurance. Those were 2 points, and I had another one I forgot what it was. Anyway, oh yes, last point. As it was mentioned before, I come from Guillaume, Quebec. I see my good friend Schilder down there. I love Quillon more than you can imagine, because that's my home village. I wrote a book about it, and it was very, very successful, I have to tell you. It sold 2,200 copies. And there's only 700 people live there. So that's how successful it was. So I said this is a week of very unique happenings every day. Today, my next book, I decided to write a book on the history of Ottawa. If you love Ottawa, and you love something else, I forgot what it was. Oh, if you love history. If you love history, you love Ottawa. Over the next week, have a look at this book, my new book, The Curse of the Written Flats. The history of the Written Flats is a very interesting history of Ottawa. I didn't make the history, I only wrote it up. The first one, An Untold History of Ottawa by James Robinson. I use the name James because that's what I had in the other book, just for consistency. Schwartz has written a book on the untold history of Canada, which I hope that I'm told by the publisher and others that this is going to sell like hotcakes because and a goddamn better boil. So have a look on the internet and it'll be available in chapters, I'm told, and in other bookstores now. So keep your eye out for it. I need the money. And I want to say one last thing. I'm very honored. Did I say that before? I'm very honored to see my very good friend Don Kelly here tonight. He's a very great Canadian, very great comedian, and a very great leader of our native people. So, what have I got? Oh, there are a few others. I have a Mohawk friend with us tonight, and I'm very proud that she's here. And thank you, Diane, for coming. Just one last thing. My half-Irish and half-Scottish joke. I use that in comedy clubs sometimes. I say, is there anybody else here that's half and half?
Over here.
Okay, I'll give myself a little challenge here. I'll try to create a joke for you the way I did for myself. You're half what and half what?
Half Irish, half Scottish.
I'm half Irish and half Scottish, so half of me likes to drink beer and half of me likes to repeat Jim's jokes.
French and Italian.
French and Italian. I'm half Italian and half French, so half of me loves to drink Italian wine and to sing, and the other half likes to separate with the goddamn stuff. Anybody else? Nobody else? Okay, see me after if you're looking for a joke. I can't say it enough. Thank you, Ari. And Felice. And my two comedian friends, my very good friends. Those for my doctor relative. His house is full of doctors. His father's a doctor, his grandfather, his uncle, and his uncle. Everybody made it except him. Anyway, the night has to end sometime, and it's going to end now with Ari. And thank you, Ari, again.
I'm the oldest, probably the oldest guy up here tonight. I'm 25, but I smoke.